Do you think you will be able to trust the super intelligent AIs that you're developing? And then they answer yes. And this is almost insane, because the same people who cannot trust other people, for some reason, they think they could trust these alien AIs.
So welcome to the Wired Big Interview.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
And that, I believe, is the main theme of your new book, Nexus.
Yes.
So we would like to know, how should we live with, especially the AI or super intelligence in the society in the future? The first question, in the late 90s, actually there is one idea that if the internet will spread globally, and then it will bring the world peace, because the information will tell the truth, and every people could get access to every information, and maybe multi-understanding will grow, and finally the human being becoming wiser. However, you said that such a view of information is more like naive.
Yeah.
Could you explain why?
Yes, because information is not truth. Most information is not about representing reality in a truthful way. The main function of information is to connect a lot of things together, to connect people together. And you sometimes can connect people with the truth, but it's often easier to do it with fiction and fantasy and so forth. Some of the most important texts in history, like the Bible, they connect millions of people together, but not necessarily by telling them the truth. In a completely free market of information, most information will be fiction or fantasy or even lies, because the truth is costly, whereas fiction is cheap. To write a truthful account of anything, of history, of economics, of physics, you need to invest time and effort and money to gather evidence, to fact check. It's costly. Whereas fiction can be made as simple as you would like it to be. And finally, the truth is often painful or unpleasant, whereas fiction can be made as pleasant and attractive as you would like it to be. So in a completely free market of information, truth will be flooded, overwhelmed by enormous amounts of fictions and fantasies. This is what we saw with the internet, that it was a completely free market of information, and very quickly the expectations that the internet will just spread facts and truth and agreement between people turned out to be completely naive.
Recently, Bill Gates, in an interview of the New Yorker, initially he thought the digital technology will actually empower the people. But finally he realized that social networking is totally different than the previous digital technologies. And he said he realized too late. And he also said that the AI is also the totally different technology than the previous one. And if AI is totally different than the technology we have previously, is there anything we could learn from the history if there is nothing equivalent to the AI?
And the most important thing to understand is that AI is an agent and not a tool. Previous information technologies, I hear many people say the AI revolution, it's like the print revolution, or it's like the invention of writing. And this is a misunderstanding, because all these previous information technologies, they were a tool in our hands. If you invent a printing press, you still need a human being to write all the texts, and you need a human being to decide what books to print. AI is fundamentally different. It is an agent. It can write books by itself. It can decide by itself to disseminate these ideas or those ideas, and it can also create entirely new ideas by itself. And this is something unprecedented in history, because we never had to deal with a super intelligent agent. But there were, of course, other agents in the world, like animals, but we were more intelligent than the animals. We were especially better than the animals at connecting. Why do we control the planet? Because we can create networks of thousands and then millions and then billions of people who don't know each other personally, but can nevertheless cooperate effectively. 10 chimpanzees can cooperate because among chimpanzees, cooperation is based on intimate knowledge, one of the other. But 1,000 chimpanzees cannot cooperate because they don't know each other. 1,000 humans can cooperate. Even 1,000,000 humans or 100 million humans. Like Japan today has more than 100 million citizens. Most of them don't know each other, nevertheless you can cooperate with them. How come that humans manage to cooperate in such large numbers? Because they know how to invent stories and shared stories. Religion is one obvious example. Money is probably the most successful story ever told. Again, it's just a story. I mean, you look at a piece of paper, or you look at a coin, it has no objective value. It can nevertheless help people connect and cooperate because we all believe the same stories about money. And this is something that gave us an advantage over chimpanzees and horses and elephants. None of them can invent stories like money. But AI can, which again, the emphasis on intelligence may not be may be misleading.
Okay.
The key point about AI, it can invent new stories, like maybe new kinds of money, and it can create networks of cooperation better than us.
So you mentioned a lot about the religion. The important thing is that you wrote in the book that those kind of the acceptance vision itself of the religion will affect about the acceptance of AI itself.
Yes.
In the Japanese or Asian way in the animism way, we accept naturally more like an alien intelligence living together in the same environment, or like I would say multi-species things.
Yes.
Maybe it's vulnerable to accept about what AI will tell or something. But could you tell if also the advantage of those things? What would you say?
Well, I think that the basic attitude towards the AI revolution should be one that avoids the extremes of either being terrified that AI is coming and will destroy all of us, but also to avoid the extreme of being overconfident.
I see.
That, AI, it will improve medicine and it will improve education, it will create a good world. We need a middle path of, first of all, simply understanding the magnitude of the change we are facing. That all the previous revolutions in history pale in comparison with this revolution, because again, throughout history, every time we invent something, so we still have human beings making all the decisions. So for instance, in the financial system, I just recently read an article in Wired about an AI that created a religion and wrote a holy book of the new religion, and also created or helped to spread a new cryptocurrency. And it now has, in theory, $40 million, this AI.
Wow.
Now, what happens if AIs start to have money of their own and the ability to make decisions about how to use it? If they start investing money in the stock exchange. So suddenly, to understand what is happening in the financial system, you need to understand not just the ideas of human beings, you also need to understand the ideas of AI. And AI can create ideas which will be unintelligible to us. The horses could not understand the human ideas about money. So I can sell you a horse for money. The horse doesn't understand what is happening because the horse doesn't understand money. The same thing might happen now, but we will be like the horses. The horses and elephants, they cannot understand the human political system or the human financial system that controls their destiny, that the decisions about our lives will be made by a network of highly intelligent AIs that we simply can't understand.
The AI's trust network we can't understand. And sometimes we say those things as not singularity, not only singularity, but the hyper-object. Like a hyper-object means what you can't understand.
Yeah.
And that's context often said in environment things, the nature of the kind of system of Earth, we can't understand fully. So, human being really struggling about how to adapt with those change of the climate or the big Earth systems. And maybe the AI is just coming up to the top list of how could we deal with. How human being could do, make being flexibility or even just deal with those hyper object or just a singularity. How could we do that, if you can't understand fully?
Ideally, we should be able to trust the AIs to help us deal with these hyper objects, with these higher complex realities which are beyond our understanding. But the big paradox of the AI revolution, I think, is the paradox of trust. We are now in the midst of an accelerating AI race with different companies and different countries rushing as fast as possible to develop more and more powerful AIs. Now, when you talk with the people who lead the AI revolution, with the entrepreneurs, with the business people, with the heads of the governments, and you ask them, why are you moving so fast? They almost all say that we know it's risky, we understand it's dangerous, we understand it would be wiser to move more slowly and to invest more in safety, but the other company or the other country doesn't slow down, they will win the race.
Yeah.
They will develop super intelligent AI first, and they will then dominate the world. They will conquer the world. And we cannot trust them. This is why we must move as fast as possible. Now, you ask them a second question. You ask them, do you think you will be able to trust the super intelligent AIs that you're developing? And then they answer yes. And this is almost insane because the same people who cannot trust other people, for some reason, they think they could trust these alien AIs.
Yes.
We have thousands of years of experience with human beings. We have some good understanding of human psychology, human politics. We understand the human craving for power, but we also understand how to check the pursuit of power and how to build trust between humans. With AIs, with super intelligent AIs, we have no experience at all.
I see.
So this situation, the safest thing would be to first of all build more trust with other humans. So it's amazing that today we have these networks of trust in which hundreds of millions of people cooperate on a regular basis. And there is no such thing as a completely free market. Some things can be created successfully by competition in a free market. We know that. But there are certain services, goods, essentials that cannot be maintained just by competition in a free market. Justice is one example. Let's say it's a free market, I sign a business contract with you, and then I break the contract. So we go to a judge, we go to a court. I bribe the judge. Suddenly you don't like the free market. You say, no. Courts should not be a free market. It shouldn't be the case that the judge rules in favor of whoever gives the judge most money. In that situation, you don't like the free market so much. There is always some kind of substratum of trust, which is essential for any competition.
Negative scenarios about democracy becoming populism or authoritarianism.
Yes.
But would you think about the positive side of using AI to encourage the more trust network, more democracies. Is there any path we could use, like those new technology to enhance the democracy?
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen, for instance, that in social media, there are algorithms that deliberately spread fake news and misinformation and conspiracy theories and destroyed trust between people, which resulted in a crisis of democracy. But the algorithms don't have to spread fake news and conspiracy theories. They did it because they were designed in a certain way. The goal that was given to the algorithms of social media platforms like Facebook or YouTube or TikTok was to increase engagement, maximize engagement. This was the goal of the algorithms. And the algorithms discovered by trial and error that the easiest way to maximize engagement is by spreading hate and anger and greed, because these are the things that make people very, very engaged. When you're angry about something, you want to read more about it, and you tell it to other people. There is more engagement. If you give the algorithms a different goal, for instance, increased trust or increased truthfulness, then they will not spread all these fake news. They can be helpful for building a good society, a good democratic society. Another very important thing is that democracy should be a conversation between human beings.
I see.
For that, you need to know, you need to trust that you're talking with another human being. Increasingly, on social media, or generally on the internet, you don't know if what you're reading is something that a human being has written and is spreading, or is it a bot? This destroys trust between humans and makes democracy much more difficult. But we can have a regulation, a law, that bans bots and AIs from masquerading as human beings. If you see some story on Twitter, you need to know if this is being promoted by a human being or by a bot. And if people say, but what about freedom of speech? Well, bots don't have freedom of speech. I mean, we don't need to, I'm very much against censoring the expression of human beings. But this doesn't protect the expression of bots.
I see.
Bots don't have freedom of speech.
In that context, I remember that one of the big company in Japan trying to make the AI constellation, just connecting AI and even just connect with human being and AI. And just let them to discuss something important, like a multi-stakeholder democracies. So the AI will declare their AI, of course. And they have really different intelligence, like alien intelligence. And would you think, in the near future, human being will have a discussion with alien intelligence, would make us wiser? Absolutely,
because yes, AIs on the one hand can be very creative and can come up with ideas that wouldn't occur to us. So talking with an AI can make us wiser. But AIs can also flood us with enormous amounts of junk and of misleading information, and they can manipulate us. And the thing about AIs is that, as members of society, we are stakeholders. For instance, the sewage system. We need the sewage system because we have bodies. We can become sick. If the sewage system collapses, then diseases like dysentery and cholera spread. This is not a threat to AI. For the AI, it doesn't care if the sewage system collapses. It cannot become sick. It cannot die. It doesn't care about it. We need to remember it's not a human being. It's not even an organic being. Its interests, its worldview are alien to us. When you talk with people, like we are now talking to each other, the fact that we are embodied beings is very, very clear. Ultimately, they also has a physical existence because AIs, they don't exist in some kind of mental field. They exist in a network of computers and servers and so forth. So they also have physical existence, but it's not organic.
So, what is most important things for you when you think about future?
I think the two key issues, one we've covered a lot, which is the issue of trust. If we can strengthen trust between humans, we will also be able to manage the AI revolution. The other thing is the fear, the threat. I mean, throughout history, people lived their lives inside, you can say, a cultural cocoon made of poems and legends and mythologies, ideologies, money. All of them came from the human mind. Now, increasingly, all these cultural products will come from a non-human intelligence. And we might find ourselves entrapped inside such an alien world and lose touch with reality. Because AI can flood us with all these new illusions that don't even come from the human intelligence, from the human imagination. So it's very difficult for us to understand this illusion.
I see. Thank you very much for all the interviews. It's really inspiring and a great message even for Japanese readership and wired Japanese readership too.